My name is Eli Navon. I am 45 years old. I was born in Haifa, Israel. I grew up in a Jewish family, traditional, but not very religious. My father worked for the government. My mother taught history. They believed in duty above all else. From childhood, I was trained to serve my country. Absolute loyalty. No questions. No doubts. That was our way. I learned to be silent, to watch, to remember everything, to trust no one completely. When I turned 18, I joined the military. The training was hard, but I was harder. I had no room for weakness, no time for feelings. My commanders noticed me. They said I had the right mind for special work. Cold, logical, precise. At 27, I was recruited into the Mossad. It was an honor. It was also a prison. My world became smaller, darker, made of codes, surveillance, and shadows. I learned to see people as pieces on a board. Emotions were weaknesses. Love was a liability. I married Rachel when I was 29. She was smart, quiet. She asked no questions about my work. That was good. I could give no answers. Our son Noam was born 3 years later. He had my eyes, but Rachel's smile. I loved him, but I kept that love locked away. Deep inside, where it couldn't make me vulnerable, I told myself this was protection. For him, for Rachel, for my country. But something felt wrong. Empty, like I was living someone else's life. I followed every rule. I completed every mission. I was the perfect agent. But late at night, when the house was quiet, I felt hollow inside, like something important was missing. I pushed those thoughts away. I had work to do, a nation to protect. But the emptiness remained, growing, waiting. The Mossad became my world, my religion, my everything. Every morning, I woke up at 5 a.m. I read intelligence reports before breakfast. I analyzed threats while Rachel made coffee. I studied enemy patterns while Noam played with his toys. My mind was never off duty, never at rest. At the office, we called ourselves guardians, protectors of the nation, heroes in the shadows. But I felt more like a machine than a hero. I followed protocols. I memorized codes. I tracked targets across 3 continents. I spoke 7 languages fluently. I could kill a man with my bare hands. But I couldn't tell my wife where I went every day. I couldn't explain to my son why Daddy traveled so much. I couldn't have real friends, real conversations, real connections. Everything was classified, everything was secret, everything was locked away. The rules were simple. Trust no one outside the agency. Question everything. Assume everyone is lying. Keep your emotions buried. Personal feelings compromise operations. I was good at following rules, too good. I watched other agents struggle with the isolation. Some drank too much. Others had affairs. A few requested transfers to regular intelligence units. Not me. I adapted. I survived. I excelled. But adaptation came with a price. I stopped laughing at Rachel's jokes. I stopped playing games with Noam. I stopped feeling much of anything. During family dinners, I sat at the table, but my mind was elsewhere. Planning, calculating, analyzing. Rachel would ask about my day. I would say, classified. She learned to stop asking. Noam would show me his drawings. I would nod and say, very nice. But I wasn't really looking. I was thinking about my next assignment. They deserved better. I knew that. But this was my duty. This was who I had to be. The agency praised me. My supervisors called me reliable, dedicated, uncompromising. They gave me the hardest cases, the most dangerous missions, the targets no one else could handle. I accepted them all, without hesitation, without complaint. But inside, something was dying, day by day, mission by mission. I told myself this was normal. This was the cost of protecting Israel, of keeping my family safe. But late at night, lying in bed next to Rachel, I felt like a stranger. in my own home, in my own life. The emptiness grew larger, hungrier. I needed something more, something real, but I didn't know what, and I was afraid to find out. By my 10th year in the Mossad, I had everything I was supposed to want. A successful career, respect from my superiors, a comfortable home, a family. But I felt like I was starving, not for food, for something deeper, something I couldn't name. I started questioning things I had never questioned before. Small things at first. Why did we do certain operations? Why did some targets matter more than others? Why did we call ourselves heroes when most of our work happened in darkness? I pushed these thoughts away. Questioning was dangerous. Doubt was weakness. But the questions kept coming. During missions, I found myself staring at targets through my scope. These were supposed to be enemies, threats to Israel, people who deserved what was coming. But sometimes I saw their faces clearly, really looked at them. A man eating dinner with his children, a woman reading a book in her garden, an old man feeding pigeons in a park. They looked human, ordinary, like people I might meet on the street in Haifa. This disturbed me. Agents weren't supposed to think about targets as people. I told myself they were terrorists, enemy operatives, dangerous, but doubt crept in like water through cracks in a wall. At home, the emptiness grew stronger. Noam was 12 now, smart, curious, full of questions about everything. "Dad, why do you travel so much?" he would ask. "Work," I would answer. "What kind of work?" "Important work." For who? For Israel. But his questions made me think, what exactly was I doing for Israel? Was it really making us safer? Or was I just part of an endless cycle of fear and violence? I had no good answers. Not for him. Not for myself. Rachel stopped trying to connect with me. She focused on Noam instead, on her teaching job, on anything but the cold stranger she had married. I didn't blame her. I was becoming someone I didn't recognize. During Sabbath dinners, we would light the candles, say the prayers, go through the motions, but the words felt empty, ancient, meaningless. I recited them because it was tradition, because it was expected. But I felt nothing. Other families at synagogue seemed to find comfort in these rituals, peace, community. I felt only obligation. The rabbi spoke about God's protection over Israel, about our chosen destiny, about faith in dark times. I listened politely. But inside, I wondered, if God was protecting us, why did we need so many spies, so many weapons, so much fear? Where was this protecting God when children died in bus bombings, when families lost their homes, when men like me had to kill other men in foreign cities? These thoughts scared me. They went against everything I had been taught. Everything I believed, or thought I believed. I tried to pray, really pray, not just recite memorized words. I asked for guidance, for purpose, for something to fill the growing hole inside me, but heaven felt empty, silent, distant. Maybe I was too damaged to hear God. Maybe I had done too many dark things. Maybe he had given up on people like me. The hunger inside grew stronger, more desperate. I needed something real, something true, something bigger than duty and fear and endless missions. But I had no idea where to find it. The mission to Istanbul was supposed to be routine, intelligence exchange with Turkish operatives, 3 days, maximum, in and out. Noam was on school break. Rachel was visiting her mother in Tel Aviv. I made a decision I would regret for the rest of my life. I brought my son with me. I told myself it would be safe. A simple meeting. No danger. Maybe it was time to show him a little of my world. Maybe I was just lonely, tired of being alone. We flew to Istanbul on a Tuesday morning. Noam was excited. His first international trip with Dad. He packed his camera, his journal. He wanted to see everything. The hotel was decent. European style. Safe neighborhood. I registered us under false names. As always, the first day went perfectly. I met my contacts, exchanged information. Simple business. Noam explored the hotel, took pictures of the Bosphorus from our window, drew sketches in his journal. That night, we ate dinner together in the hotel restaurant, really ate together. For the first time in months, he told me about school, his friends, his dreams of becoming a photographer. I listened, really listened, and for a moment, the emptiness inside me felt smaller. But happiness in my line of work is dangerous. It makes you careless. The second day, everything went wrong. My contact was compromised. The meeting location was blown. Turkish intelligence was involved. Maybe hostile operatives, too. In the chaos of the failed exchange, shots were fired. People scattered. I lost sight of Noam for just 30 seconds. 30 seconds that changed everything. When the smoke cleared, he was gone. I searched everywhere, every street, every building, every alley in a 6-block radius. I called in favors, used every resource the agency had in Turkey. Surveillance cameras, street contacts, electronic tracking, nothing. My son had vanished like he never existed. For 3 days, I didn't sleep, didn't eat. I became a madman searching through Istanbul. I prayed to every version of God I knew, the God of Abraham, the God of Israel, the God of my fathers. Silence. On the third night, I collapsed in my hotel room, broken, defeated. I had failed at the one thing that mattered most, protecting my child. I lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling, ready to give up. That's when it happened. At exactly 3 a.m., the room filled with light. Not electric light, something else. Warm, gentle, alive. I thought it was a raid. Turkish police. Enemy agents. I reached for my gun, but I couldn't move. The light held me, not with force, with peace. In the center of the brightness, a figure appeared. A man. But not quite a man. He had the most calming eyes I had ever seen. Deep. Ancient. Full of love I didn't understand. He didn't speak at first, just looked at me, into me, through me. I felt naked, exposed, like he could see every dark thing I had ever done. But there was no judgment in those eyes, only compassion. Finally, he spoke. His voice was quiet, gentle, but it filled the entire room. "Noam is with me," he said. "You go to the hospital of Besiktas." That was all. Then the light faded. The figure vanished. I was alone again. But I wasn't the same. I didn't understand what had happened. I didn't know who the man was. But I knew, somehow, that Noam was safe. My hands were shaking as I dressed. My legs could barely carry me. I took a taxi to Besiktas Hospital, my heart pounding the entire way. In the emergency ward, I found him, dirty, scratched, tired, but alive. Completely alive. The doctor said a homeless man had brought him in 2 hours earlier, found him wandering near Taksim Square. He kept talking about a bright man, the doctor said someone guided him through the night until he reached safety. I held Noam in my arms and cried. For the first time in 20 years I cried, not from sadness, from relief, from gratitude, from something I couldn't name. Someone had answered my prayers, but it wasn't the God I knew. It was someone else entirely. Back in Israel, I couldn't stop thinking about what happened in Istanbul. The man in the light, his gentle eyes, his promise that came true. Noam was safe. That was all that mattered. But questions burned inside me. Who was he? How did he know where to find my son? Why did he help us? I tried to research it quietly, carefully. I searched through Mossad databases for similar incidents. Unexplained rescues, mysterious interventions, religious encounters. Nothing matched what I experienced. I visited Rabbi Goldstein, our family's spiritual advisor for 15 years. "Rabbi, have you ever heard of visions? Of figures appearing in light?" He stroked his beard thoughtfully. "In our tradition, yes, angels sometimes visit the righteous in times of great need." "What did they look like?" "Magnificent. Terrifying. Nothing like a man. The figure I saw looked exactly like a man. A kind man. I went to the library, read ancient texts, studied mystical experiences throughout Jewish history, Moses and the burning bush, Ezekiel's visions, Daniel's encounters. None of them matched my experience. The beings in those stories were otherworldly, frightening, demanding worship and obedience. My visitor had been different, peaceful, loving. He asked for nothing. Weeks passed. The questions haunted me. During missions, I found myself distracted, less focused. My supervisors noticed. "Navon, you seem troubled," my commander said after a briefing. "Everything all right at home?" "Fine, sir. Just tired." But it wasn't fine. I was changing, and change in our business was dangerous. Rachel noticed too. "You're different since Istanbul," she said one evening. "More present, but also distant in a new way." She was right. I was paying more attention to Noam, to her, to life itself. But I was also searching for something I couldn't explain to them. One afternoon, while walking through the Christian quarter of Jerusalem, I passed a small bookstore. In the window was a painting. A man with gentle eyes, long hair, simple robes. He looked familiar. I stared at the image for 10 minutes before the shopkeeper came outside. "Beautiful, isn't it?" he said in accented Hebrew. "That's Jesus of Nazareth, the Prince of Peace." Jesus. The name hit me like electricity. I had heard it before, of course, in intelligence briefings about Christian groups, in reports about missionary activities, always as a security concern, a foreign influence, never as a person. "Who was he?" I asked, trying to sound casual. The shopkeeper smiled. "The Son of God, the Messiah, the one who saves." I bought a book about this, Jesus, hid it in my office safe with classified documents. Late at night, when Rachel and Noam were sleeping, I read. The stories fascinated me. This Jesus healed the sick, raised the dead, spoke of love and forgiveness, died for the sins of humanity, and he appeared to people, often in light, always with peace. The description matched my visitor perfectly, but this created a terrible problem. Jesus was not Jewish theology. He was Christianity, a foreign religion. Some would say a betrayal of our people. I had been raised to see Christians as outsiders, sometimes friends of Israel, but never our faith. The idea that Jesus might have saved my son was impossible to accept and impossible to ignore. I started having dreams. The same man, the same gentle eyes. Sometimes he spoke to me about peace, about forgiveness, about coming home. I woke up feeling calm, rested, like I had been sleeping safely for the first time in years. But during the day, fear crept in. What if someone discovered my research? What if the agency found out I was investigating Jesus? My career would be over. My security clearance revoked. My family's reputation destroyed. Jews who converted to Christianity faced suspicion, rejection, sometimes violence. I thought about my parents, my colleagues, my community. What would they think if they knew their trusted agent was reading about Jesus? The conflict tore at me daily. My heart was drawn to this gentle figure who had saved Noam. My mind reminded me of the cost of following him. I was a spy caught between two worlds, and I didn't know which one was home. But late at night, reading those hidden books, something inside me whispered the truth. I was no longer searching for Jesus. He was calling me to himself. For 3 months, I lived in two worlds. By day, I was Eli Navon, Mossad agent, cold, professional, loyal to Israel. By night, I was a seeker, reading about Jesus, praying to him in whispers, feeling his presence in my dreams. The double life was killing me. During missions, I felt empty again, like I was pretending to be someone I used to be. At home, I watched Rachel and Noam with new eyes. I loved them more than ever. But I couldn't share the most important thing happening to me. The loneliness was unbearable. One evening in December, everything came to a breaking point. I was assigned to eliminate a target in Lebanon, a terrorist leader. High priority. I had done this kind of work hundreds of times, never questioned it, never hesitated. But as I prepared for the mission, I heard a voice in my mind, soft, gentle, unmistakable. You don't have to do this anymore. I tried to push it away. This was my job, my duty, my life. But the voice persisted. I have a different path for you. I completed the mission. Successfully. Professionally. But on the flight back to Tel Aviv, I knew it would be my last. I couldn't keep living this double life. Something had to give. That night, I made a decision that changed everything. I drove to the Sea of Galilee, alone, in darkness, the same waters where Jesus had walked, where he had called his first disciples. I parked by the shore and walked to the water's edge. The night was quiet, peaceful. Stars reflected on the calm surface. I had never felt so alone or so desperate. Jesus, I whispered into the darkness, if you are real, I need you to show me. The words felt strange on my lips. Foreign, dangerous. I don't know how to do this. I don't know what it means. But I can't live without you anymore. I knelt in the sand, tears streaming down my face. I'm tired of being empty, tired of pretending, tired of living without purpose. The water lapped gently against the shore. The wind whispered through the trees. And then, like in Istanbul, I felt his presence. Not a vision this time, something deeper, a warmth in my chest, a peace in my mind, like coming home after years of wandering. I give you my life, I said aloud. All of it, my past, my future, my mistakes, my fears. Take them, make them yours. I stayed by the water until dawn, praying, crying, surrendering. When the sun rose over the hills, I was different. Not just different, new. The emptiness was gone, filled with something beautiful, something alive. For the first time in my adult life, I felt complete. I drove home in silence, not planning what to do next, just trusting. Rachel was making breakfast when I walked in. You're up early, she said, not looking up from the stove. I couldn't sleep. She turned to face me. Her expression changed immediately. Eli? What happened to you? What do you mean? You look different, peaceful, like you used to look when we first met. I wanted to tell her everything. About Istanbul, about Jesus, about the night by the lake. But I couldn't. Not yet. Just thinking about life, I said. About what's important. She smiled. The first real smile she had given me in months. Good thoughts, I hope. Yes, I said. Very good thoughts. That afternoon, I submitted my resignation to the Mossad. My commander was shocked. My colleagues confused. You're our best agent, they said. Why would you leave? I gave them practical reasons. Family time, new opportunities, personal health. They didn't need to know the real reason. I had found something worth living for, something worth dying for, someone who loved me completely, just as I was. His name was Yeshua, and he had set me free. That was 3 years ago. Today, I live a very different life. We moved to a small town near Nazareth. Rachel teaches at the local school. Noam is 16 now. He still wants to be a photographer. I work as a security consultant, legitimate business. No more shadows, no more secrets. Well, almost no secrets. I haven't told them about Jesus yet, but they see the change in me. Rachel says I smile more, laugh more, listen more. Whatever happened to you that night you couldn't sleep, she told me recently. I'm grateful for it. Noam and I take long walks now. Real conversations about his dreams, his fears, his future. He doesn't know his father once killed people for a living. Maybe someday I'll tell him. But for now, I just try to be the father he deserves. The emptiness is gone. Completely. In its place is something I never expected to feel. Peace. Not the peace of completing a mission or eliminating a threat. The peace of being loved unconditionally by someone who knows everything about me, every dark thing I've done, every life I've taken, every lie I've told. Jesus knows it all and loves me anyway. I pray to him every morning, not formal prayers, just conversations, like talking to a friend who truly understands. Sometimes I ask him about the people I hurt in my old life, their families, their children. I feel his forgiveness, but also his call to live differently now, to use my remaining years to heal instead of harm. I've started helping other former agents who struggle with the transition to civilian life. Men and women who spent years in darkness, who carry secrets that eat them alive. I can't tell them about Jesus directly, not yet. The risk is too great, but I can show them that change is possible, that emptiness can be filled, that there is hope beyond the shadows. Some of them listen, some don't, but I plant seeds, small ones, and trust Jesus to make them grow. My old colleagues think I've lost my mind, trading a prestigious career for a simple life. They don't understand that I gained everything when I surrendered. Purpose, joy, love, truth. A relationship with the one who saved my son, who saved me. There are still challenges. Living with a secret faith isn't easy, but I'm not alone anymore. Jesus is with me, always, in the quiet moments before dawn, in the laughter around our dinner table, in the tears when I remember my past. He's there, gentle, patient, forgiving, transforming me day by day into someone I never thought I could be, a man of peace instead of war, a father present instead of absent, a husband who loves instead of hides. If you're reading this, if you're listening to my story, know this: no life is too dark for Jesus to enter, no heart too cold for him to warm, no past too shameful for him to redeem. I was a professional killer, a man who lived without love, without hope. But Jesus found me in a hotel room in Istanbul. In my deepest despair, he saved my son. Then he saved me, and he's still saving me. Every single day. His name is Yeshua, the Prince of Peace. And if you call out to him, really call out to him, he will answer. Maybe not the way you expect, maybe not when you expect, but he will come. And when he does, everything changes. Everything. Pray for me. I still live carefully, still hide my faith from most people, but I'm not afraid anymore, because I know who holds my future, and his hands are gentle, strong, pierced with love.